It took me 75 plus years to realize what I'll tell you in 20 minutes. If I could sit down with my younger self, maybe the one at 50, 60, or even 65, I would have so much to say. I would tell them what truly matters, what doesn't, and what's worth fighting for. I would tell them to stop worrying about things that won't matter in the long run and to embrace the present moment before it slips away. But life doesn't work that way, does it? We don't get the answers ahead of time. We learn by living, by trying, by failing, and by growing. Now at 65 plus years old, I've gained a kind of wisdom that only comes with time. And today, I want to share it with you so you don't have to take as long as I did to understand. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. Happiness was never waiting somewhere ahead. It was here all along. For most of my life, I chased happiness like it was some distant finish line. I believed it lived in the next achievement, the next milestone, the next version of myself that was somehow better, thinner, richer, more accomplished. I thought happiness was a prize, something I had to earn, something that always seemed just a little bit out of reach. I'll be happy when I retire. I'll be happy when I lose the weight. I'll be happy when my children are settled, when the house is paid off, when I have more time, more money, more certainty. But here's what I wish I had realized sooner. Happiness isn't waiting for you somewhere down the road. It's already here. It always, always has been. We grow up believing that life is about reaching the next thing, that contentment is something we'll find later. And yet, every time we get what we thought we wanted, we move the goalpost. We celebrate for a moment, then immediately set our sights on the next thing. We tell ourselves, just one more step, just one more thing, then I'll feel at peace. But happiness isn't in the next promotion or the next 5 pounds lost. It's not in the house you dream of buying or the vacation you're planning. It's not hiding in some future version of yourself that's somehow better than who you are now. Happiness is in the ordinary moments, the ones we overlook because we're too busy chasing something else. It's in the quiet morning light streaming through the window as you sip your coffee. It's in the warmth of a grandchild's hug, in the deep laughter shared with an old friend. It's in the way the wind moves through the trees on a summer evening, in the first bite of a homemade meal, in the sound of your favorite song playing on the radio. I've met people who spent their entire lives working toward a dream, only to arrive and realize they were still searching for more. I've also met people who had very little, no grand achievements, no wealth, no extraordinary accomplishments, but they radiated joy. Why? Because they understood something most of us take a lifetime to learn. Happiness is not a destination, it's a way of being. I remember talking to an old friend, a man in his late 80s, who told me, "You know, when I was younger, I always thought happiness was something I had to chase. But the older I got, the more I realized I was stepping over it every single day. I had it all along. I just wasn't paying attention." That stuck with me, because if you're always chasing happiness, you'll never arrive. But if you stop, if you truly pause, you'll see that joy has been waiting for you all along. You don't have to wait for retirement, for the perfect body, for the perfect life. You don't have to wait for everything to be just right. You can choose happiness right now. Not because everything is perfect, not because life isn't hard, but because you finally understand that joy was never hiding. It was just waiting for you to notice. 2. Health is the greatest wealth, and it's never too late to take care of yourself. When we are young, we move through life as if our bodies are invincible. We push them, neglect them, take them for granted. We eat whatever we want, get little sleep, ignore aches and pains, believing there will always be time to get healthy later. But later comes faster than we expect. One day we wake up, and our body reminds us, sometimes gently, sometimes sharply, that it has been with us through every decision we've made. And whether we treated it well or poorly, it has kept the record. I used to think health was just about looking good, about numbers on a scale, about fitting into old clothes. I thought it was about diets and exercise routines, about discipline and restriction. But now, I know health is so much more than that. It's the ability to bend down and play with your grandkids without wincing in pain. It's the strength to take long walks in the crisp autumn air, feeling your legs steady beneath you. It's waking up with energy instead of exhaustion. It's the freedom to live your life without constantly worrying about doctor's appointments and medications. I've met people in their 70s who are more vibrant and full of life than some in their 40s. And I've also met people in their 60s who have resigned themselves to a life of decline, convinced that their best years are behind them. The difference isn't luck. The difference is choice. Our bodies are like gardens. If we neglect them, weeds take over, muscles weaken, joints stiffen, energy fades. But if we tend to them, even with small daily care, they remain strong, flexible, and full of life. It doesn't mean we won't face challenges. Age brings changes no matter how well we care for ourselves. But it does mean that we have more control than we think. I once knew a woman in her 80s who walked every day, rain or shine. She wasn't training for a marathon, wasn't obsessed with fitness. She simply understood that movement was life. If I stop moving, she told me, I'll never start again. She had seen too many of her friends lose their mobility, not because they had to, but because they slowly let it go. And that's the truth. We don't lose our strength because we age. We age because we stop using our strength. If I could go back in time, I would tell my younger self to care for my body, not because I wanted to look better, but because I wanted to live better. I would remind myself that every small decision, a short walk, an extra hour of sleep, a home-cooked meal, was an investment in my future self. But the good news? It's never too late. The human body is astonishingly forgiving. It doesn't matter if you're 30, 60, or 90, it will respond to care. Muscles can regain strength, joints can regain flexibility, energy can return. Even a small change, adding more vegetables to your plate, taking an evening stroll, stretching in the morning, can create a ripple effect that transforms how you feel every single day. There is a version of you, even at this stage of life, that is stronger, healthier, and more full of vitality than you imagine. And that version of you isn't waiting in some distant future. It's waiting right now in the small choices you make today. Your body is the only home you will ever truly live in. Take care of it, and it will take care of you. 3. Relationships matter more than anything else. If I could relive my life, I wouldn't ask for more money, more success, or more possessions. I would ask for more time with the people I love, more conversations, more shared laughter, more quiet moments that I once overlooked. When I was younger, I thought achievements would be my legacy. I worked hard, chased success, built a life. But as the years passed, I began to notice something. The things I had worked so tirelessly for, titles, promotions, financial security, mattered far less than I thought they would. They brought moments of pride, yes, but they did not bring lasting fulfillment. What truly mattered, what stayed with me, were the people. I have sat beside friends in their final days, holding their hands, listening to their last reflections. Not once did they say, "I wish I had spent more time at work," or "I wish I had bought a bigger house." Instead, they said, "I wish I had spent more time with my family. I wish I had told my friends how much I love them. I wish I had let go of anger sooner." And I have learned something. Regret is not about the things we did. It's about the love we didn't give, the connections we let fade, the moments we were too distracted to cherish. We live in a world that celebrates independence, self-sufficiency, and personal achievement. But the truth is, we are not meant to walk this life alone. No success, no possession, no personal milestone can replace the warmth of human connection. A hug from a child, the shared history with an old friend, the comforting voice of a spouse. 3. Relationships matter more than anything else. Who has known you for decades? These are the treasures of life, the things that no amount of wealth can buy. I used to hold on to grudges. I thought time would naturally heal relationships, that the distance would close itself. But time doesn't heal wounds, only love and effort do. Pride steals years, anger steals moments, distance steals people. If I could go back, I would choose forgiveness faster. I would reach out first. I would say I love you more often, not assuming that people already knew. The greatest wealth I have now is not in my bank account. It's in the voices that fill my home, in the friendships that have endured time, in the people who still call to check in. It's in the laughter that echoes at the dinner table, in the handwritten letters from my grandchildren, in the stories shared over a cup of coffee. If you're holding on to anger, let it go. If there's someone you miss, call them. If there's love in your heart, say it out loud. Life moves faster than we think. One day, all we will have left are the memories of how we made people feel, and how they made us feel in return. At the end of life, we won't measure our worth by the things we owned or the goals we reached. We will measure it by the love we gave, the kindness we showed, and the relationships we nurtured. Because when everything else fades, love is the only thing that remains. 4. The fear of aging is worse than aging itself. There was a time when I feared aging, not just the physical changes, the wrinkles, the gray hair, the slowing pace, but the deeper fears. The fear of becoming irrelevant, the fear of losing purpose, the fear of watching time slip away faster than I could hold on to it. But now, having lived through decades of life, I see things differently. Aging is not something to fear. It is something to honor, something to embrace. The only tragedy in growing older is wasting time worrying about it instead of living it. When I was younger, I thought aging meant decline. I saw it as a slow fading, a gentle retreat from the world. But now I know aging is not about fading. It is about deepening. It is about seeing life through wiser eyes, about shedding the insecurities and pressures of youth, and finally living with clarity. Aging has given me gifts I never expected. It has given me patience, the ability to sit in stillness without needing to prove anything. It has given me wisdom, to know what truly matters and the courage to let go of what doesn't. It has given me freedom, the freedom to stop chasing, to stop comparing, to stop measuring my worth by the expectations of others. And yet, I see so many people resist aging as if it is the enemy. They fight it with every cream, every dye, every procedure, as if erasing the signs of time will somehow stop time itself. But time is not the enemy. The real enemy is the belief that our value diminishes as the years pass. I have met people in their 80s and 90s who are more alive than some in their 30s, not because they are untouched by age, but because they have embraced it. They have chosen to keep growing, to keep laughing, to keep learning. I once knew a woman who took up painting at 78, a man who started writing poetry at 85, a friend who traveled solo for the first time in her 70s. Aging does not take away our ability to live fully. Our fear of aging does. The real loss is not in gaining wrinkles. It is in losing curiosity. It is in believing that our best days are behind us instead of ahead. It is in shrinking our world out of fear, in closing ourselves off instead of expanding. I have wrinkles now, but they are not just lines. They are stories, proof that I have laughed, that I have cried, that I have lived. My hands are not as smooth as they once were, but they have held loved ones, built a life, created memories. My body moves slower, but it still carries me through this world, still allows me to experience its beauty. And so I no longer fear aging. I fear not living while I still can. The only real mistake we can make is spending our precious years wishing we were younger, instead of embracing the incredible privilege of growing older. Because the truth is, aging is not about losing youth. It is about gaining life, and I intend to live every last bit of it. 5. The best time to try something new is right now. There was a time when I believed that new beginnings belonged to the young. That learning a new skill, picking up a new passion, or stepping into a different version of myself was something best left for those with decades still ahead of them. I thought that after a certain age, life was about maintenance, not discovery, about settling into routine, not expanding into possibility. I was wrong. I have come to realize that the only thing that truly limits us is our own belief that it's too late to start over, too late to try something different, too late to chase a dream. 5. The best time to try something new is right now. We once had dreams, but were too afraid or too busy to pursue them. But time has taught me something. The moment you decide to start, no matter how late you think it is the moment you prove to yourself that it was never too late to begin with. I have met people who, in their later years, picked up a paintbrush for the first time and discovered an artist inside them that had been waiting for decades. I have met men and women who started writing, learning an instrument, mastering a new language, not because they expected to be the best, but because they finally gave themselves permission to enjoy the process. I have watched people go back to school in their 70s, fall in love again in their 80s, and travel the world for the first time in their 90s. The idea that we have to stop growing because of our age is nothing more than a lie we've been told, a lie that keeps people from experiencing the richness that life still has to offer, a lie that keeps us from evolving, from learning, from waking up excited about something new. There is no rule that says you must stop dreaming after 60, no law that says curiosity must end at retirement, no expiration date on trying something for the first time. And yet, so many people hesitate. They worry about looking foolish, about failing, about not being as quick or as sharp as they once were. But let me tell you something. Growth is not about being the best. It's about being better than you were yesterday. It's about challenging yourself, expanding your mind, giving yourself permission to be a beginner again. I once met a man who had always wanted to play the piano, but convinced himself he was too old to learn. "What's the point?" he said. "By the time I'm any good, I'll be in my late 70s. I asked him, "And how old will you be if you don't learn?" "Time will pass no matter what. The years will come and go, whether you decide to fill them with new experiences or not. The question is, how do you want to spend them? Looking back with regret at the things you never tried? Or looking forward with excitement, knowing that every day still holds the potential for something new?" I used to think that the best time to start was when I was younger. Now I know the best time to start is right now, not yesterday, not tomorrow. Now, because the only thing standing between you and the life you still want to live is the decision to step forward and begin. 6. Let go of what you can't control. For so many years, I carried burdens that were never truly mine to carry. I worried about the future, replayed mistakes from the past, held on to anger for things I couldn't change, and tried desperately to control the uncontrollable. I thought that if I planned well enough, worried long enough, or tried hard enough, I could keep life in order. That if I held on tightly, things would turn out the way I wanted them to. But life has a way of humbling us, doesn't it? It teaches us, in small whispers and in painful lessons, that control is an illusion, that no matter how much we try, there will always be things beyond our reach. A loved one will leave, a plan will unravel, a door we were counting on will close without warning, and all the worry in the world won't change any of it. I spent years exhausting myself over things that in the end were never mine to control. People's opinions, other people's choices, the way time moves, the way life unfolds, the way the past remains unchangeable, no matter how often we relive it. And then, one day, I realized something. The weight I was carrying wasn't heavy because life was unfair. It was heavy because I refused to set it down. We spend so much of our lives resisting what is. We fight against reality, trying to bend it to our will, only to find ourselves exhausted and bitter when it doesn't work. But life is not meant to be a battle against what we cannot change. It is meant to be embraced, even in its unpredictability. Letting go does not mean we stop caring. It does not mean we give up or become passive. It means we choose peace over resistance. It means we recognize the difference between what is ours to change and what is not. It means we trust that, even in uncertainty, life has a way of working things out. I once heard someone say, "Worrying is like carrying an umbrella every day, waiting for rain." And it struck me. How often do we hold on to stress, anxiety, and fear for things that may never even happen? How much time do we waste trying to control the uncontrollable, instead of simply living? If I could go back, I would tell my younger self this: set down the weight, let go of the things that steal your peace, forgive faster, accept what is, trust that no matter how life unfolds, you will be okay. And if you're still carrying burdens that are not yours to carry, I hope you find the courage to let them go. 7. The small moments were always the big moments. We spend so much of our lives chasing the big moments, the milestones, the achievements, the grand successes. We tell ourselves that those are the things that will matter most. The promotion, the dream vacation, the big house, the major accomplishment. But now, looking back, I see the truth. It was never the big moments that truly defined my life. It was the small ones. It was the warmth of my child's hand in mine as we crossed the street, the sound of laughter echoing in the kitchen on a Sunday afternoon, the way my mother hummed while she cooked, filling the house with something more than just the smell of food, something like love itself. It was the long conversations over coffee, the way my dog rested his head on my lap, the quiet stillness of a morning before the world fully wakes up. These are the moments that stay. But we don't see it when we're in them. When we're younger, we rush past these moments, believing they are ordinary. We assume the best days are somewhere ahead of us, waiting to be reached. We fail to realize that this, right now, is life. That the small, fleeting moments are the ones we will long for when we no longer have them. I have seen people in their final days. And do you know what they talk about? Not their biggest achievements, not the money they made or the awards they won. They talk about the way their partners looked at them across the dinner table, the way their child's laughter once filled the house, the way they felt lying in the grass on a summer afternoon, staring at the sky with no agenda, no worries, just being. They talk about the love they gave and the love they received. They talk about the moments, the ones they never thought would matter but did. And so I no longer chase the big things. I no longer wait for life to begin at some future milestone. Instead, I pay attention. I notice the way the light shifts in the afternoon. I cherish the phone calls, the text messages, the unexpected visits. I sit longer, listen deeper, love harder. Because one day these moments will be memories. And I want to make sure that when I look back, I didn't miss the best parts of my life while waiting for something bigger to come along. So if you're still searching for happiness in some far-off future, stop. Look around. It's already here, hidden in the ordinary. And one day you'll see, it was never ordinary at all. This is your time. If there is one thing I know for certain after all these years, it is this. Life is not measured by how much time we have, but by how well we choose to live it. And the most heartbreaking thing I have seen, more than loss, more than hardship, is people reaching the end of their journey only to realize they spent too much of it waiting. Waiting to be happier. Waiting to be thinner, richer, more successful. Waiting for the right time to start something new. Waiting for apologies that never came. Waiting for the perfect moment to say I love you, to take the trip, to embrace life fully. But here's the truth that time has taught me. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. Life does not pause for us to figure it all out. It moves, with or without our permission. It moves while we hesitate, while we overthink, while we wait for the fear to subside. And before we know it, years have passed. Opportunities have slipped away. The people we love have aged. The moments we could have cherished are nothing more than distant memories we wish we had held on to more tightly. But what I also know is this. It is never too late to start living. It is never too late to forgive. Never too late to let go. Never too late to pick up the phone, to try something new, to say yes to life in all its unpredictable, imperfect beauty. If I have learned anything, from the people I have met in their final years, from my own experiences, from countless moments of reflection, it is this. You are never too old to love, to dream, to laugh, to grow. The greatest tragedy is not aging. The greatest tragedy is reaching the end of your days and realizing you never truly lived. So don't wait. Don't waste another year, another month, another day, wishing for a past you can't return to, or a future that isn't promised. Open your heart, open your hands, and embrace the life you have right now. Because when the time comes to look back, you won't remember the things you feared. You won't care about the opinions of others. You won't wish you had spent more time worrying about things beyond your control. You will remember the love, the laughter, the adventures, big and small, the kindness you gave and the kindness you received. And if you live fully, if you choose to live fully, when the time comes to say goodbye, you will do so without regret, because you will know without a doubt that you truly lived. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.